welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have producer, makeup artist, special effects makeup artist, wardrobe, actress, what I like to say, Jill of all trades, Jamie Apple. Jamie has worked on a ton of movies, and we're going to talk about some of them. So, Jamie, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I live in literally a 2-stoplight town in the middle of nowhere. Started SFX in 2012. Sorry, my studio is still a mess from the last set. And I pretty much gave it up. Well, as I just mentioned, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and that pretty much drove me in the ground for about 5 years. Got myself sober and decided one day that I was sober enough to venture into the indie film world. Put out, a notice that, hey, I do SFX makeup. I've been working at this haunt for this long, and it took off. And I wasn't planning on acting or doing any of that. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. But now I kind of like it after the last role I just finished. So,
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little fun. I mean, I've only done like little bit parts, but it's something that you're just like, I like this. It's just, so you, like I said, you're working on everything. You're doing special effects makeup. You're doing makeup. You're doing wardrobe. You're acting now. So what's your true passion between all that stuff?
SFX makeup definitely is my passion. I like to be able to push the limits of what we can actually do and do it. So I try to be better each time. And again, this last set I was on, I did a couple of things that I've never done before, and it turned out pretty phenomenal.
Cool. Well, I have to ask you. I'm not sure how old you are, so I'm not going to put that out there. But I was in the age of the VHS tapes. Did you have your Tom Savini VHS tape with and your was it I can't remember, the other one was something horror, but I had those on VHS tape back in the day.
Actually, believe it or not, I did. I still don't. I don't watch horror movies. I have one. It's Pumpkinhead is my absolute favorite, and I don't watch it even for the movie or the plot line, but I watch it for Pumpkinhead. I've never, I'm a wuss. I'm a coward, and that's why I work at haunts instead of going through them, because I know where things are going to be, and that's why I don't mind watching the movies I worked on. But it's really hard for me to watch somebody else's horror movie and then sleep the next week.
No, you're not one of them ones that as soon as you started finding out how it's all made and stuff, it just kind of lost its luster. But you're still it's still there, huh?
It is. It's still there, and it stems all the way back to, and this is probably going to give away my age. I was like 4, and HBO was just becoming a thing on Cablevision, if you can think back then. And my parents decided to watch Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. It terrified me, and I mean, I was little, so it all stems from that. So thanks, Freddy, for the nightmares. I still have them.
Okay, so I got to ask you this, because this is the way my wife is. If we watch a horror movie, we've got to watch something after the horror movie for a palate cleanser that shows she can go to bed. She's the same way.
Yeah.
I
think. Go ahead.
I can literally watch a horror movie and fall asleep while I'm watching the horror movie, no problem. But
if you give me true crime, you can let me watch the most terrible thing that happened in real life, and I can go to sleep right after. I know that is awful, but I'm one of those women that can sit there and I can watch the craziest true crime stuff as I'm falling asleep and it not bother me. So.
I'm not going. What was real bad was what is it? Cold Case Files, or no? One of those is on like a Roku channel, so it streams all the time. I used to just turn that on and then go lay down and go to sleep. So I'd have that playing in the background to help me sleep.
Yeah, my newest favorite is Murder on the Bayou. It's actually, I think, on Paramount, but I turned it on and like binge watched all of it because I'm from the South. So I was like, these people actually have my accent. Holy cow. Because I get told, like, I do a lot of filming up north. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, you have the cutest southern accent. I don't hear it, but everybody else does.
I go down south or I go up north because I live in Ohio. I either go visit family in Michigan or I go visit family down south. And they're like, man, you have the craziest accent. I'm like, I don't think I have anything. This is like the generic white American accent.
Right. And I just bless you for being in Ohio. That state is the bane of my existence when I travel from North Carolina to Illinois because, you know, with makeup equipment and now lighting and sound gear, we can't fly. So we have a huge diesel truck that we fill up with everything and transport. And going through Ohio kills me every time. Like, one minute you're way up here, the elevation is like sky high, and then you're like, there's no gas stations. It's crazy. Like, if you want to be in the middle of nowhere, go to Ohio. Amazing filming.
Well, it's what was it for me? It was Kansas, because there's nothing in Kansas. Just flat.
That's how Illinois is.
The problem with gas stations is it's the east side of Ohio, and I don't know why. Because once you get out of a certain area of Ohio, gas stations everywhere. But when we used to go to Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So we'd stop, and you'd be driving late at night, and you're just like, oh, there's a gas station, and it's closed. And you just keep driving, There's a gas station, and it's closed. And I'm almost out of gas. I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's how my town is. There's like, it shuts down at like 8, 9 o'clock at night. That's it. Everything dies. It's so quiet here.
So how did you get into special effects makeup in a little old town like that?
There's actually a local haunt that is ran by a couple of ex-Hollywood directors. I'll throw their names out. Dean and Star Jones, and it's the original Hollywood horror show. Okay. I wanted to work there so bad. Like, I always saw their signs, and I was like, well, I want to go be a haunt actor. And I went out there, like, on the off chance that they were there. I met Dean, and he kind of let me come in early in the season, learn how to do the masks, the prep work, they're ready to go. And that was a really good experience. And it didn't work out after the first year. I didn't like the haunt scene at the time. I was starting to get into drinking really heavy and didn't want to tolerate the drama, so I just kind of left. And if you've ever worked in the haunt industry, there is drama. There's always going to be drama.
Yes, there is.
So I left, and I was under contract, so I had to take a 4-year cool down period. And when I quit drinking, I joined a campground, and they had a volunteer haunt. Every year, the proceeds go to the North Carolina Leukemia Lymphoma Foundation. This year, I left, but this year they were able to donate over $20,000. Pure donations.
Wow.
No profit. So they're very good people to work for, and they needed somebody over their makeup department. Well, I ended up not only running the makeup department, but I ran it through COVID. And we had a drive-through haunt for the kids and for everybody else. So we still made money that year. And that's kind of how I got into it. And I just haven't let it go.
That's cool. I did a haunt 1 year, and you had just all the infighting between the actors and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm literally here to have fun and to make a little money. And right. It was like people were sucking the fun out of it. I'm like, oh, okay. You have a great night one day, and then the next night you just be like sitting there just, I just want to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, I still run a haunt here locally in town. We only run 1-2 nights. It's at our local baseball stadium. And I hire local teenagers. And for the past 2 years that I've ran it, there's been no drama. Everybody's gotten along.
Nice.
Right. And when you get like 40 teenagers, that's big. So that's kind of how I got my nickname, Mama Monster. I become everybody's mother. So,
Well, you kind of have to deal with what I do. I have a comic book store, and they play Magic, so I have to be the grumpy dad / uncle that tells the kids, you need to knock it off. You need to be. The fact that you got 40 of them with no drama, I can't get 12 of them with no drama.
yeah, these guys, they're awesome to work with. Like, they literally, if they see another kid doing something wrong, they'll call them out. If that kid doesn't listen, they come straight to me and they say, hey, Mom, this is what we got going on. And I go handle it right then. I haven't had to let any of my kids go. They've always been apologetic, and they're like, whoa, we want to keep working for you. So we do have a lot of fun.
Damn, that's cool. So how'd you go from being a haunt worker to being in film? To working in film, I should say.
Somebody I know posted a casting call, and I joined the casting call group and just threw it out there that I did makeup, and threw out one of my zombie looks, and it exploded.
Nice.
It was like a time bomb. Like, I got I booked a couple of short films, and now it's like every time I turn around, I'm having to actually turn down jobs, and I feel so bad that I can't take all the jobs, But
Yeah.
I am literally, from now until July, I have at least 1 gig a month, 2 in March, and possibly 3 in May.
I thought I was busy. I don't know how. And I put this out there. You got 4 kids,
I do.
and all men at home.
I homeschool.
Jeez. I have 4 of them, but 3 of them don't live here anymore. They're all adults, and I have events. And
My oldest is now 19, so she hasn't found her path yet, and I'm not rushing that. I told her, I'm like, you can live at home as long as you want, and I actually pay her to care for her siblings when we go on our shoots, and, she loves it, so gives her extra money, and she has her own little petting zoo, so it takes care of her zoo.
yeah, that's one of the things nice is that my son Joe, who is my 3rd kid, he is my everybody calls him my mini me, but I'm like, how's he my mini me when he's my size? He's here. He works for me at my shop. He gets paid, but I also, since he lives with his brother across town, because that was another thing is my kids. We let them stay at home until they're ready. My oldest son that lived at home, he's stockpiled money, and then he bought a house because he'd just been stockpiling money for. And I'm like, there's a house available. Do you want to buy it? We can get it for cheap. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, you're 20, because he bought it 2 years ago. So he was 24 years old. I'm like, buy a house. I didn't buy my first house till 2 years ago. I'm 48. I was like, I wish I would have done that when I was 20. So, but you're working on movies. Your
right. That's what my husband did. He bought.
Oh
no, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Your husband bought.
He bought our house when he was 20. So, I mean, pretty much our house is paid off now, which is nice to be. I have my kids young. I'll tell you guys how old I am. I'm 39. I'll be 40 in May. So I still have like a lot ahead of me. I did start my career late, had kids early, but it's been a lot of fun along the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think if you don't have those learning experiences, you don't become the person you are today, and you wouldn't. You start taking stuff for granted. I mean, granted. I mean, if I wouldn't have put myself through all the bull crap that I put myself through when I was younger, I wouldn't have the outlook that I have now. So sometimes you got to go through hell to get where you are. So
absolutely, yeah, and excuse me, I'm still getting over a sinus infection that I got when we went to Illinois. The air is so dry there, and then coming back to North Carolina where it's so humid, it has killed me. I've been preaching a lot on my page about women being positive to other women, because that's one thing in this industry I cannot stand. Don't be catty to other women. My best friend in this industry is Angel Bradford. She is my bestie. We do a lot together, and we share our successes, we share our failures, and we pick each other up when we need it. And that's how all women should be. And that's the women I want around me.
Yeah, it's unfortunately because I've seen this locally, because we have a pretty good thriving indie film area in the Dayton area. But you see the people working with the same actors and same actresses, but like either the directors don't get along, or and you're just like, man, you guys are using the same people in the same area. Don't be jerks to each other, man. Just find. You guys have a ton of commonality, and yet you don't use it to make things better. I think if everybody got to working together, this thing would be huge. So, but unfortunately, that's one of the downsides to, I think, ego.
It is. It's all pride and ego, and it sucks that it's like that. So, I had a young lady reach out to me. She was like, I was really apprehensive to reach out to you because I heard you were not a nice person. I'm like, what? So she asked me a couple of tips, tricks, pointers, and I gave her all the information she wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
How else are we going to create the new generation of makeup artists, actresses, actors, cameramen, gaffers, sound guys? You can't if you don't share that information. And I've learned that a lot of the people that do make it higher up in the indie film community, they don't want to share that. They want that to be theirs. I may not tell you all my tips and tricks, but I'm going to tell you enough that you're going to figure out how exactly I'm doing it and be able to do it just as efficiently, if not better than me.
Yeah, it's sad that people want to hold that over others, and I think all that does is hinder everybody. Then, I mean, that comes to any job. There's all these people who, I've worked in factories where guys will literally like, hey, I need to learn how to do this machine. Yeah, hold on a second. They'll like put their hand so you can't see what they're doing. I'm like, we work together. We work in the same field. Why are you doing this? But no, talking about Angel, awesome girl, had her on a couple weeks ago. Oh man, I can't wait to have her back on. She was so much fun.
She's my adopted daughter. We do a lot together, and we've become very close. And if anybody hurts her, I'm going to hurt them. Like literally mama bear vibes when it comes to Angel.
Oh god, she hurt me a little here when we talked, because we were laughing, and I said something about her mom. I was like, we were talking about how old she was, and I was like, how old were your parents? She goes, oh, my mom will be 46. I'm like, oh my god, I'm even older than your mom. That's crazy. Because I've been a horror fan. I've helped with my friends that have worked on movies. I've written movies that have never seen the light of day and will probably never see the light of day. But I all do it as a what do you want? Practice is something to keep my brain going. Because as you said, I've told many people this. I'm a former alcoholic, and I try to keep myself busy, because if I don't, there's always I don't want to drink. I don't want to have that drink. But like during COVID, when everything shut down and I'm just depressed at home, and you're just like, I can't do nothing. I can't leave. I'm stuck. And you look over and it's like, man, I could definitely have a drink. And then it's like, nope. So I kept busy. Okay. And my wife's like, yeah.
It's upside down, but it's my AA tattoo.
Nice. That's great. I mean, AA works for people. I got sober once, fell off the wagon. Got sober again, and it was literally, I'm sitting there drinking one time, and it wasn't even like I was drinking much. I'd gotten down to where it was like next to nothing, and we're at a bar celebrating, and I took a drink and I slid it across the table and went, I'm done. And my wife's like, you ready to leave? I'm like, no, I think I'm done drinking, and I haven't had a drink 9 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm like,
well, I'm coming up on I'm coming up on 6 years. I wish it would have been that easy. But when I finally quit the last time and haven't picked it up since, I was laying in a hospital bed. And my doctor walked in, looked at me, and said, I'm going to go get those kids out in the waiting room right now because you need to tell them goodbye.
Jeez.
Yeah.
See, I don't put this out here a lot. When I was young, I was living apartment. I was the party guy. I was the only one of my friends that had an apartment, so everybody came to my house to drink and party. And one night, I've been with my wife now. In October, we'll be together 30 years. And she came to my apartment because we were kind of on again, off again. We were kids at that time. And she came in, she found me, and I was laying on my front room floor, and my skin was like green and purple. I had drank so much, I'd gotten alcohol poisoning. And I don't remember it. She said she grabbed me, started shaking me, yelling at me, telling me to wake up, and told me that she was going to tell my grandparents. And as soon as she said that, my eyes rolled back out from back of my head and went, no, I don't want my grandma mad at me. And it took a while, but I finally got my shit together, and I never want to do that again. I don't remember it at all. No clue.
I still remember some of the bad days, but I don't remember many good days drinking. Like, I don't. It's mostly the bad. And, props to the people that can have a drink and put it down.
Yeah.
I'm proud of them. My husband is one of those. I don't keep him from drinking.
Nope.
He can drink anytime he wants.
Yep.
I just don't want it. And I work a lot with the AcroStar film family. That's S.J. Herman, all them. They will occasionally take a shot as a family, either before or after shooting, whatever, just, as a good luck gesture. Mine's always apple juice or sparkling water, but I still grab the shot glass because it's a toast to all of us.
Yep. Did the same thing at my friend's wedding. Everybody's drinking champagne. I think I had iced tea in a champagne glass. I was like, ding, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Drank it, and it's like, all right, now I'm going to go back over the table. Because if anybody ever wonders, this is always iced tea.
I get picked on set because I carry around a 2-liter of ginger ale. And that's my drink for the day. Everybody knows. If I'm not carrying a bottle of water, that's Jamie's ginger ale. So...
Well, hey, congratulations! You're kicking ass, and that's awesome. I'm happy when I hear these great stories about people getting sober and stuff like that. And sometimes, like I said, when I was able to walk away from it that last time, everybody's like, oh, "How'd you do it?" I'm like, "I just walked away." And somebody's like, "It wasn't that hard." I'm like, surprisingly enough, no, it was nice, and I'm. Never, haven't gone back, nothing, so.
Right, I'm like, man, why didn't I find these opportunities sooner? Why didn't I start doing this sooner? But then I look back and I'm like, do you really think you could have handled some of the tough situations you've been in during that time? And my answer to myself is always no. So.
Yeah. So I gotta get back to movies here.
Yes.
So what movie have you worked on that you're the most proud of?
The one we just finished, actually, Desperate Souls with S.J. Herman. It is a horror, but it is also a romance and suicide awareness and a lot of other things rolled into one. And there was a lot of emotions that went into that film.
Well, I watched the trailer to that. Well, the teaser trailer, because the real trailer doesn't drop till tomorrow. For those watching
tomorrow night, yes.
So this will drop Monday afternoon. So at noon. So it'll drop in a few hours after this drops. So go find the Desperate Souls trailer that drops at what time?
8 p.m. Central.
8 p.m. Central. Okay, so
I think 9 Eastern. Yes.
9 EST.
And we actually have an event on Facebook. If you just look up me, Jamie Apple, on Facebook, I'll have it on there. But we're actually doing a live trailer tomorrow night, and we're going to do a Q&A with the cast and crew while we're watching it and after. So I'll drop my link for that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll put that at the end of the show, and we'll have that ready to go. Now, with all the stuff that you're doing, doing movies. Do you get out to conventions or anything at all?
Actually, yeah. Last year was actually my first horror convention. It was Carolina Fear Fest. Matt Burns actually invited me out to that, and I'm doing that again this year because it always falls on my birthday weekend.
Nice.
But other conventions I have not made it out to yet because I haven't had time. It's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told Angel. I'm a guest at a convention in Virginia coming up in September.
Oh, cool.
It's a Haunted Screams Expo, and I got invited as a guest because of my show and whatnot, and I also interviewed the guy that runs it. He's got two personas. I'm not sure which one he wants to go by, but his latrum is he's the little demon dude with the ears. He does Haunted Scream Expo, and I think it's like the 12th and the 13th of September. I'd have to double check on that one. But yeah, last year I got to interview what I call the Hellraiser guys. So it was Gary Tunnicliffe, Mike Regan, and Paul Taylor. So it was the last Pinhead, and then Gary had worked on every Hellraiser from 3 to 10 for Dimensions, and Mike had worked on every one from 4 to 10 for Dimensions, not including all the other stuff. And oh man, them guys had stories where all kinds of and Gary, I don't know if you've ever met him. If you ever get a chance, he's awesome because he doesn't care, because he's like, I'm retired now. I'll burn bridges. So he'll tell you about everybody.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because we had the discussion about actors and actresses that have gotten married. That he goes, yeah, I told him that was gonna be a train wreck 10 years ago or whatever.
Now, see, oddly, all the Hellraiser movies, they never scared me, ever. Like, I watched them. They're more of like a body torture, body mutilation. Oh, yeah. So it doesn't really scare me. That's more of a, oh, wow, how did they make that muscle look like that?
Oh, man. Frank, when he skinned in that move in 2, yes, that is impressive. Same way with Julia, with the when she's reforming. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So I have to ask you. You're not a horror fan, though. What's your go-to movie?
Actually, my go-to is somewhat horror, but it falls back into that body torture. House of a Thousand Corpses is probably my favorite movie, just to pop on when I'm working and just let it play over and over again.
Oh man! Hey, that's another thing. The horror convention in September, Dr. Satan will be there.
Well, see, the fun thing is I can't do film work in September because I'm setting up my haunt. So there is a chance that I can sneak up there for the weekend and come. That'd be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. And even if we get you up there, we'll get you into the after party and the whole 9 yards. So I got to hang out with Bonnie Morgan from the Ring movies, and we got to hang out with I can't remember his name, the little dude that was the stand-in for Chucky and the newest Leprechaun.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but yeah, those guys were having a blast, and it's. I'm not going to mean. I don't want to sound mean, but one of the best things ever is the little guy walking around with his bottle of beer. And he's so small that it looks like a champagne bottle in his hand.
Oh gosh!
And
yeah, I have one funny story, but I'm not going to share it. She'll share it with you if you ever meet her. Yeah. Nancy Ritter from Scream, the Scream bathroom. She actually has become one of my very close friends. Like, we text each other back and forth. And she'll message me and be like, hey, are you going to be at this convention? If so, I want you with me. Like, I was not supposed to be a handler or anything at Carolina Fear Fest, and I ended up being her handler, made sure she got back to her hotel. She got me to drive her through McDonald's. It was great, but she has stories to tell if you have time for them.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to have that discussion sometime off the air. So see, that's one of the problems is because people will tell me these stories and they're like, "Are we done filming?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, I got stories." I'm like, "Damn it!"
Right, right.
I did an interview, I don't know, about 3 months ago, and it ends, and we're already going long. We're already like almost 2 hours. We continue talking for another hour after the show because he just tells me stories, and I can't tell any of them.
Yeah, I have some of those, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I could tell them because it would make everybody laugh so bad, so hard, like pee your pants laugh. But it's that little voice in the back of your brain that goes, no, they'll never tell you anything again. Exactly. So I just keep it in.
That's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. And before we get too far, I have to say, you killed it when you dressed as Cruella last year.
Aw.
That shit was awesome.
Thank you. There's some more in the works. I can't wait. We got a couple more things going on. Clarence has got some cool things coming up. He is so much fun. He was the photographer. He is phenomenal. If ladies, gentlemen, whoever gets the chance to work with Clarence, do it. So,
like I said, I was sitting there, I was like, because it took me a second. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that was you at first when you first posted it, and I was like, scroll back, and went, God damn, that's impressive. I was like, shit.
Thank you.
Now, okay, we've talked about doing horror. If you could work in any other genre of films, what other genre would you like to work in?
Maybe comedy, honestly. I know it's hard for like SFX in comedy, but I'm thinking like even horror parody movies, like the haunted house movies, or something like that would be amazingly fun. Yeah.
This is what's funny. I was doing a con years ago, and they had, I can't remember his name. He was a special effects artist there. He started on Face Off on Sci-Fi, but he was there and he had his makeup, and he did was it? And this is going to be bad. Wet Dreams on Elm Street, the porno parody. So he did the Nightmare on Elm Street porno parody, and he's like, he looks at people and he goes, I'm never going to get hired to do a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So this dude killed it with the makeup because he made the Freddy look, I mean, it looked like Freddy, and it's for a porno movie. All because he was like, I'm never going to work on Friday, I'm never going to work on Friday the 13th. I'm never going to work on Nightmare on Elm Street. He goes, I got the offer to do the Nightmare on Elm Street porno parody, and I jumped on it. And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, that's awesome makeup. And he goes, well, it got me other jobs. So
yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm picking up these weird odd roles that are really hilarious, and that's what I'm digging. Acrostar Films is going to be doing a Sweet Family Christmas. They just dropped that. It's a Hallmark parody, which is going to be a lot of fun. But what I have coming up this weekend is called Butch and Jack Solve a Mystery. It's Nicky Park's film. He's our director. And it is just phenomenally insane. I get to dress like a 90s mom aunt kind of thing with the big blonde bouffant hair and the corset, the Dolly Parton era of white trash aunts. That's me this weekend, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's cool. So when you're acting, what do you really what do you like acting in? The horror or in the comedy stuff?
I like acting in the horror, but I don't want the serious roles, if that makes any sense. I like being like a side character. I don't like lead roles. I want to be that funny little quirky side character that if we didn't have that character, it wouldn't be as good of a scene. So, that's where I like to be. I kind of like to be off to the side, but still make an impact.
You're one of the ones that needs to break up the darkness with just a little bit of light over here at the corner, right?
Usually I'm a smart aleck, though. So I get those roles. I get to be I said a couple of mean things in Desperate Souls to our main character. I feel kind of bad for saying those, but apparently he deserved it.
Now, does that ever get to you when you got to act? You're like, you got to be mean to somebody that you're like really kind of pretty cool with? That you
No, actually, one of the first acting roles I did was a role called Trashy. That movie is not out yet. It is in editing, but it is seriously white trash. And Paul Hurley, I don't know if you guys know who Paul Hurley is. He plays my ex-husband in this movie. The chemistry is so amazing that we were afraid that the downstairs neighbors were going to call the cops because it sounded like we were truly having a domestic dispute. And yeah, it was really good. But no, that scene was actually one that we had a lot of fun with, but we put out a lot of anger with. So it was good, but I don't regret any minute of that one.
Now, did you have to get yourself in a good headspace before you worked on that? Like get mad at somebody in real life?
I did. And it's not very easy when you're such an easygoing person to really like get yourself in that headspace. But I've been married once, so I always have that to look back on.
It's one of the ones where you're like, well, yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, see that's one of the worst parts about it is that I've gotten older and people have offered me like, hey, you want to be in a movie? And I'm like, what day are we filming? I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I was supposed to be the guy in a movie, and I was supposed to be show up multiple times. I was supposed to be the guy at the beginning of the movie that told the kids they were all going to die out there. But I was going to be the only reoccurring character in all the movies, just the guy that ran the gas station. So it connected the universe that the one guy. And I was like, I could do that. Yeah. Grumpy old hillbilly, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I like being the grumpy old woman. And in A Sweet Christmas, waving my husband in. He's hanging out in the studio with me. But on A Sweet Family Christmas, I play the lush, wonderful housekeeper named Alice. So definitely a smart aleck, and it's going to be a lot of fun with that character, but not so sure about how her demise plays out.
Now, since your husband's right off to the side, how does he feel about becoming? Was he working in film before you guys got together, or was it something that you guys came together with? No.
He wasn't in film before. He's an auto mechanic by trade, owns his own business. And I was going to some sketchy shoots that I didn't feel comfortable going alone to. Good shoots, bad area of town. And I'm like 5'2". I'm tiny. I am a little human. And when I have $20,000-$30,000 in makeup gear, I don't want to haul that around by myself. And then he was like, I want to try some lighting. Now half of my studio is dedicated to his lighting and sound equipment. And generally, if I tell people what he does, he gets hired right along with me. And if they don't want to hire him as anything on set, he becomes my assistant. So
becomes your security. Gonna have to.
Yeah, pretty much. We went to Chicago, downtown Chicago, for a promo shoot. And mind you, I have not been anywhere pretty much off the East Coast. Chicago was huge. I was terrified of that place. And I was so glad I had him to drive the roadways. It's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Chicago. It's insane. I remember taking my wife there for the first time, and she's like, "This town sucks." Traffic was horrible. Everything. She's like, "You can't." I was like, "That's why you don't drive. You park and then you ride the bus, or you walk, or you cab everywhere." So.
Yep, and I will say, you know, with it being a legal state, we had to make a pit stop because my nerves were like this by the time we got there. It was crazy. Had to swing in and visit some good friends up there. So, I think there's. I've always stuck to North Carolina. That's the where I'm from, and I'm branching out now, and I'm realizing there's a huge film industry in the Illinois, Ohio, that whole Great Lakes Basin area is freaking amazing. Because now I'm in talks about going to Indiana in July. You know, I've driven through Indiana but never been there, so I'm pretty excited about that too. You know, a lot of people, they want local talent, and I'm like, I'm willing to travel, just hire me. And it took a while for people to give me that shot.
Yeah, because it's you know, we talked about this a little bit ago. You know, you get those people who've worked with the same people, and they don't want to give other people shots. You know, and I've told a couple of my friends locally, I'm like, man, you should give. You know, you always have the same actresses, you have the same actors, you got the same effects people, you've got the same sound guy, you got the same guy doing music, you got everything from every movie to every movie. Mix it up, man. Bring in somebody new just to be the star. You could keep everybody else, or bring in a new special effects person, or bring in this, because all it's going to do is make things bigger and expand your you know, work people. I don't know how to call them.
Expand your horizons.
Yeah, and you know, but there's people that I know people that they have the same actress every movie, same actors every movie, and I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's not. I mean, you get that rapport with those people, but I think it does kind of stagnate after a while. And you, like I said, there's people, I love their stuff, but literally you go in there and it's like watching the next movie, even though it's a completely different movie. It's the same people playing just slightly different roles, and you're just like, okay.
Right, and then you're shutting out these actresses like Angel Bradford, who are more than just a pretty face. Like, that is the thing. I cannot wait for Desperate Souls to come out, for you guys to see her. Not me, not everybody else, her and those lead characters. They all stepped out of their comfort zones for this, and I literally cried watching Angel doing some of these scenes. So I cannot wait for you guys to see it.
Well, I know you worked on Mothman with her, and it's funny because I'm not gonna lie. When they're doing the interview in the restaurant with the people, you know, you're sitting there with her, and I'm like, when I first watched it before I met her, I was like, oh, they just got people that work there that, you know, and I'm like, no, that's an actress, okay, and she did a really good job, and you know, and I told her I was going through and I found where you do your sizzle rolls and stuff like that on her Facebook page, and I was going through and watching her bits, and I found what Debbie Does Demons, and I was laughing at it, and then I'm like, where can I get this? And she goes, it's not out yet. So I found the director, and which is Farmer Don, I believe. I got a hold of him. I'm like, so when does this come out? He's like, May. I was like, good. I need a copy, and now I got an interview with Don coming up, so next week.
Yeah, Angel, she is a phenomenal actress, and like I said, Desperate Souls gives her more of a depth. Like, I've seen her go through sadness, loss, anger, frustration, everything in that film, and to film a feature-length film with that many emotions in 7 days, it takes a lot out of you. And she rode from North Carolina to Illinois with us. She's always my travel buddy too, so if we're on the same set, we're definitely riding together. It just makes it easier on everybody. But she is definitely gonna be around. Like, you're gonna see her face a lot after this film comes out, even more.
Oh, it's like she keeps posting. She's like, got another movie role, got another role. I'm like, congratulations, jeez, man. I wanted to go leave some for somebody else. She's and now you're nailing all these upcoming movies too. Damn, congratulations. So
Yeah, talked to Christopher Gatros, side quest. I had already been in talks with him about doing the makeup, and he's like, "Hey, you should send in your audition for Liz." And like last week, he goes, "I'm down to like 5 of you for Liz's role, and I don't know who to give it to." And I was like, "Well, if I'm not good for the role, don't give it to me." That's how I am. If somebody else fits that role better. Mm-hmm. Well, I got word that I did get the role. He was like, it came down really, really tight, and I'm like, that was the first role that I actually auditioned for. The rest have just kind of been like with the Aunt Brenda role in Butch and Jack, I filled in for a reading, and then he offered me the role. So
you
kind of
actually supported it.
I'm scared to actually audition for things because I don't think I can handle much more. So.
See, I've been offered jobs at weird places. We were at Horror Hound, oh god, like 10 years ago, and this dude walks up to me and he goes, "You an actor?" And I'm like, "Me?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "Man," he goes, I like this. He goes, would you be in a movie?" And part of me is like, I'm gonna go die somewhere. Is this how this works? Is this how this ends? And he's like, "No, I'm casting for it was basically a I don't even know what happened to it. I don't know if whatever happened. I've never been able to find it, but I guess they were casting for a hillbilly Kentucky Manson family type movie, and he wanted me to be the weird cult leader because I had the beard. I had at the time I still had hair. And I'm like,
that's kind of terrifying, though.
Yeah, and I was like, all right. And then he's like, well, and he's telling me where it's at and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I was like, I can't. At the time, I had a full-time job. I was like, I can't take, because I would have had to leave Friday morning when I got off work, drive all the way to southern Kentucky, shoot everything, drive back Sunday afternoon, then go back to work Sunday night, and then start my week all over again for, I think they were shooting 5 weekends in a row, but that was it, just weekends. And I'm like, nope. Sorry, man. I'll pass. Thank you, I guess.
Thanks, but that's not feasible for me, homie G.
Mm-hmm. But then part of me wanted to go, why do you think I look like a cult leader? I don't. Oh, man. Seriously? The internet. Oh, sorry, my internet's been acting stupid lately. But,
yeah, mine's being stupid too. I thought it was mine.
No, I think it's both of us, maybe. Ours is horrible, man. It's been dropping constantly lately, and it's maddening, especially middle of the night. I'll be watching a movie, and all of a sudden it'll just stop, and I'm like, so I go stop it. I go over, and I'm like, what am I going to do now? I could read, or I could just put a movie in and read. So I'll just put a DVD play and go read.
Yep.
So I got to ask. You see, you got Horrified back there, and you got what's your board game? What's your board game of choice?
Actually, Monopoly.
Monopoly?
I always lose, but I like playing Monopoly. Yeah.
Have you played Betrayal at the House on the Hill?
No. My kids get me these weird games, and I don't even play them. They go up for decoration. Like, I open them and look at the cards. Oh, I did get Cards Against Star Wars. So that's definitely on my to-play list. It's like Cards Against Humanity, but it's a Star Wars box.
That one's going that now. I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of Star Wars crap back here.
I'm actually a huge Star Wars fan before Mandalorian, before Grogu, before all that. But I do like Yoda and Baby Yoda. But yeah, I'm a Star Wars nerd, and people always find that odd that you look at me and you're like, no, I'm not really. Just me. I like Star Wars. I'm a weird little kid. I didn't have a fun childhood, and we'll leave it at that. So, now that I'm an adult and I can buy my own things, I am reliving my childhood, and I don't care how weird that is. That's me.
That's me. Somebody asked me the other day, and they're like, "What do you got?" I was like, "I have a full set of Stormtrooper armor. I have a full set of Sith robes. I have 6 of the high-end lightsabers, plus the dark, with the dark saber. I have 6 Stormtrooper helmets, Mandalorian helmets, Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Darth Vader, Clone Troopers, Bo-Katan. I got all that stuff over there."
Yeah, see, I like Star Wars. I like comic books. My favorite is probably Preacher. Yeah, I saw the Ghost Rider box back there. That one kind of is exciting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the okay. So I got Preacher. You want to hear something funny? I got married with the last issue of Preacher in my pocket of my jacket.
That's awesome.
My wife goes, "What you got in your pocket?" And I unrolled it, and I'm like, "It's Preacher," and I kind of rolled it and stuck it back in my jacket pocket and put my shirt.
That is awesome. I was actually looking for my. Oh, there they are. I bought the complete editions, so I didn't have to have all the comic books. But I've got book 1 and 2 so far.
Oh man, those are insanely fun and wrong in every. Oh my god, I remember when he brought those out, and I was reading, and I'm like, this is so crazy bad and wrong. And then when he did Boys, he goes, "I'm going to out Preacher," and then he dropped the Boys, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. So, but I actually got hooked on the TV show at first, and not even just for the main character. Leave me alone. Thirst trap. Fell into it face first. So then I looked into the comic books, and yeah, haven't looked back. The comics are always better than the TV shows.
Yeah, believe me. I'm setting. Not only do I have all this here, I have this here. I have a stack here. I have my comic shop. I have a bunch of my stuff stored there. I tell my wife, I was like, "Now you get to, if anything happens to me, you get to deal with all this shit." I was framing up posters the other day, and I was like, "Remember, these aren't cheap posters. So if I die, they're worth money. Keep them or sell them. Yep. Don't.
Yeah, I have a couple of those." Mm-hmm.
I just got I got Heavy Metal, an original Heavy Metal poster the other day in the movie. It's all hanging up over there. But so okay.
I have my favorite poster. My favorite poster is actually my cast and crew signed Mothman poster that hangs in my studio.
Nice.
My favorite one.
I have my friends' little movie posters. I have them framed up and hanging in my shop. So if you go through, there's this poster of posters, and they're all signed by all the cast and crew and stuff like that. And they're like, "Those are cool." I'm like, "How can I get one?" Like, you can't. That's the only problem with that stuff is no one does movie posters anymore. So everybody does the little 11 by 17 ones for the most part.
Yeah.
So I would love to get a good full size, 24 by 36 poster of some of these movies. So, and the one I want is, now I got to talk to Don next weekend, is I need to try to get a full size poster of Debbie Does Demons, because that artwork is awesome.
Yeah, Angel, she's excited for that one to come out, and she loves talking about all her experiences and everything, and that one comes up a lot with how fun it was.
Yeah.
So
the horror comedies are great.
They are. They're so fun.
So what do you have coming up that you can talk about?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Butch and Jack this weekend. There's one I can't release yet. After that, April is off. in May, I'm back in Illinois with the AcroStar Film family. We're doing a Sweet Family Christmas. I'll be helping Beth Metcalf with the SFX. We're working together, creating a really cool kind of Hallmarky, cheesy, horror, fun film. I don't know. It's just going to be a lot of fun, and it's a lot of us getting together wanting to make a fun film. And then With Child is coming up. I don't know if you've seen the second trimester thing going on about that. I'm excited about that. I'm the lead SFX artist on that. Angel will be helping me, and yeah, that one's going to be pretty huge. I can't release any details though. Just it's going to be very visceral. I've been picking up a lot of movies that are almost hard for me to swallow in the emotional sense, and Jeff wrote that movie. It says it in the bio on Indiegogo after him and his wife lost a child. So it touches on a lot of emotions that generally aren't in horror movies, but it's a very good horror movie. So I'm excited about that one. And then Matt Burns in June, he's doing an anthology called Head on the Writer's Block, I think is the name of the story that we're doing. I'll be helping with that. Yeah, there's a lot. And that's all I have off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more and something I've missed in there.
All right, now I got to ask some of the hard hitting questions here. When you're working, you listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
What are you listening to?
If I'm working, you're either going to have something like Five Finger Death Punch, Metallica, heavy, harder rock. If I'm trying to unwind and relax, it's going to be more like Duran Duran 80s rock. But if I am like in an angry, I just got to get this off my chest mode, I have a whole playlist of female artists, and it's like in this moment, like heavy screamo female artists. Go ahead.
That's cool. It's funny because I've been able to link because a lot of people that work in horror also love heavy metal, and there's. I don't know if inherently that's how it works or whatever, because I've been a metalhead and a horror movie fan my entire life, and I don't remember anything else. And it looks like, what's up, Lucy?
Hi, Lucy.
As I said, that is my wife.
The first, she is so pretty. We have a male version of her named Stinky. He came to us as a stray a couple of years ago. So,
yeah,
we have a zoo.
I have my menagerie down here. We have the two cats. I don't know where mine's at. That's Lucy. Her real name is Lucy Purr. My cat's Mazikeen from Lucifer, and I have my little fat corgi down here who was named Lucy, but when we got her, we already had the cat, so she became Lulu. And then the dogs outside are Courage, my other corgi, and my wife's mutt dog, Abby, because my kid named her because he was watching Abby.
I have a 15-year-old mutt named Lila, and she was named Delilah from Sons of Anarchy. I was laying on the couch and the newest episode came on and Delilah was revealed, and I'm like, that's your name, kid. She was actually found in a dumpster, so she's we don't know what she is. She has like half a tail. She's almost weenie dog-like. But yeah, she's pushing 15 now. She's my oldest one.
All of our dogs are my wife's dog, the mutt, is a oops dog that a woman she worked with's friend had. They thought their dogs were getting fixed fast enough, but they weren't because the dog was already pregnant when they went to go take it to get fixed. And then my corgi, my little fat one, Lulu, she was a retired breeder dog, so we got her. And then Courage was a little corgi that the people didn't want him, so they just surrendered him to the animal shelter. My mom happened to be volunteering there that day, and she's like, "Do you still want another corgi?" And I went, "Yeah, I do." And so now I have Courage, and he's Courage the third because he's the third Courage we've owned. So
that's adorable.
But, oh man! So with everything you got going on, Do you find time to get to do anything else? You get to go to concerts? Do you get to go see movies? Do you get to read a book?
No.
No.
No, because usually if I'm not working on something, I'm reading through scripts of something I have upcoming, making things, or doing things with the kids. Like me and the kids, we watch, me and my oldest daughter, we are Grey's Anatomy fanatics. We have probably binge watched Grey's 2-3 times. We like to go back to the familiar, but we'll just sit and play card games, sit around talking, and let our favorite shows play in the background. Our other favorite one is Shameless. We actually, when I went to Chicago, went to the Shameless house and sat on the front porch. And they have a little sign on the door. Do not approach unless you're going to pay the fee. They charge you $20 for a group. Just sit on their porch. That's reasonable. You're interrupting their daily lives, busting up in their fence. And it tells you, don't come in unless you're going to pay. So we dropped our little $20 in the slot and took our picture.
Damn, that's cool. That's cool. Now I got to ask. Now, how do your kids dig horror? Or are they into what you're into?
Yeah, actually they are. My daughter is actually going to a set in May with me. She's going to actually start learning camera work. My oldest son has been a PA. He was a PA on Mothman, helped us out there. He's into all that, but he's more of a musician now. He started playing guitar, and I can never get him away from it long enough to go to a movie set. And my 2 younger kids, they're both actors in my haunt. They love it. My youngest, she's been acting in a haunt since she was 5.
Nice.
So
it's good to be able to keep the family going there. See, my kids are like, nah, Dad, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I have to be careful because my kids will try to stow themselves away and come with me on movie shoots. They're completely on board with it. Like, especially my oldest daughter, she's like, Mom, you've been raising kids for 19 years. It's your turn to go live your dreams, go have fun. And that's such an awesome feeling that I raised poignant enough adults that they're able to see, hey, that there's more to just being a mom.
Yeah. I had that kind of experience a while back because we were poor. I mean, we were dirt farmer poor. And my kids, I always tried to make sure they didn't go without anything, and my son goes like, man, they're adults now. And they're like, we didn't realize we were poor. I'm like, then I guess I did a good job. And, my son, Joe, he has no desire to ever step in front of a camera. He has no desire to ever, but that kid loves to write. We're working on stuff together. I've always tried to get him on my show because that kid is, I say kid, he's 23. But he's very, he's super knowledgeable, he remembers stuff that I don't remember, and he's on the ball. And I was like, I want to have you on the show one day so we can talk about stuff and we can do interviews with people. He's like, no, I don't want to be on the show. It freaks him out. But then my youngest, who's 12 and has autism, he loves being on the show. He comes in and hangs out on my other shows, my cartoon shows, all that stuff. And now he's got a following because people love him because he comes out. And I was like, hey, Vince, is today going to be a good Saturday? And he's like, he throws a thumbs up out there. Aww. And people love him. And I'm like, hey, thank you for, my kid loves being, I was like, this is great. So.
And, my daughter, if she wanted to act, she could. She had a small role in Trashy. She actually played my daughter in the movie, which was great. But she's like, nope, don't ever want to do it again. It was the most uncomfortable I ever was. She's like, but I did it. So
I think that if you don't, I let my kids do whatever they wanted to, because I was one of them kids that grew up and, I was like, I want a guitar. My mom was like, no, you don't need a guitar. What do you need a guitar for? Then I found, like you, I found horror effects makeup and stuff like that, and I ordered it out of the back, I think, of Fangoria. And she hated that because I would show up and she'd have a bunch of people hanging over at the house, and I'd come out and have a pencil stuck in my eye with just gore hanging out of it. And I'm like, Mom! And she's like, knock that shit off. Pull it out of my eye. People are like freaking out. And I'm like, why you do that?
Because it's fun.
Fun, Mom. And yeah. So I gotta ask, because you talked about being a Star Wars fan. Favorite Star Wars movie? And why is it Empire Strikes Back?
Damn it. Yes, it is Empire Strikes Back, I think. Yep. I don't know. I like them all. Like, I really do like them all, and it's hard to just pinpoint one favorite. Well, I don't like the Clone Wars. I don't like the Clone Wars.
You don't like Clone Wars?
No, I didn't like Clone Wars.
The cartoon, you couldn't get into it?
No, I couldn't. I'm not a cartoon fan. With a lot of times the cartoon adaptations to me, I guess it's my ADHD brain or whatever, but they don't fit what I like. So props to whoever likes them, but I never liked the Clone Wars. But like all the real Star Wars, the makeup during that time, during the first 3 Star Wars, the makeup was something we're still trying to figure out today. Like, whoa, how was that even done? Because they didn't have the caliber of things we have today.
No.
And it was so far ahead of its time. That's why Star Wars is probably my favorite, movie series of all time.
Yeah. It's we have this discussion because people are like, well, I hate Disney Star Wars, I hate the prequels, or I hate this and this. I'm not gonna lie, I was not a fan of Phantom Menace. I took a while for me to actually kind of appreciate some aspects of it. I still don't love the whole thing, but as I say to this day, if the Star Wars music kicks in and I don't feel something here, then I need to stop watching Star Wars. Because every time there's a Star Wars movie, every time, me and my son come here every Wednesday and we watch the newest Star Wars. We watch Bad Batch, we watch Clone Wars, we've watched all that. Now next week we'll watch The Mandalorian. And my wife to this day goes, I wish I could have filmed you guys losing your shit at the end of Mandalorian when Luke Skywalker showed up. Because me and my son were sitting there like, we're sitting over here on the couch with the TV and we're watching it. And all of a sudden the alarm goes off and that one lone X-Wing comes in and I'm like, oh. And I'm like, I turned into 10-year-old Paul again. And that got me all excited. And she goes, you guys were so funny. She goes, because we both were like, oh my God. And then when his lightsaber ignites, you're just like, oh. I'm like, I turned into such a little kid. And I don't want to lose that.
That's the thing about Star Wars. You think about, us. It has literally spanned our lifetime. Mm-hmm. And that is something we've grown up with. And we've seen all the Star Wars memorabilia. So when an iconic character like Luke Skywalker comes back like that, how else are you supposed to react? Like, I think the 10-year-old in all of us came out. We were all squealing. I know I did.
It's great. It's one of the best, and it was a moment I got to share with my kid, which was so awesome. And it's one of the ones that I still love to this day. Just me and him are like this anyway, so it's awesome. But I do have to ask you again before we're getting close to the end here. You talk about do you get to go to concerts at least?
Oh my gosh, I haven't been to a concert in probably 3 years. The last one I went to actually was Trans-Siberian Orchestra. My husband took me as a Christmas gift, and it was so much fun. But before that, it had been a while since I actually went to a concert. So
that's one thing I decided 2 years ago. I'm like I said, metalhead. I love going to hear music. I listen to my music while I'm editing and doing work in here in the basement. And I finally got to the point where I'm like, I'm going to concerts. I don't care anymore. if I have to, like, I'll make sure somebody covers me at my shop so I can go. I'm driving 3 hours away to go to a concert now, where I used to be like, that's too far. Now I'm like, hey, they're not playing anywhere in the United States for, like, I don't know how long. We're going to a concert. So
Well, there actually was a concert that I wanted to go to, and I literally cried because I can't go. It is Stevie Nicks in North Carolina the first week in May, and I will be in Illinois on a film set.
well, I might make you cry here a little bit. I bought my wife Stevie Nicks tickets for Valentine's Day. She wanted to go, and she was talking about how I was like, all right. So I started looking them up online, and of course, the one seats were stupid expensive, and they were all sold out at the lower seats. So I bought seats that I could afford, and they were still. It's all for me and her both to go. It's almost $400, and
Still, that is like the best Valentine's Day gift ever. She will never forget that.
And
did she cry?
I go, hey, I was like, I got you something. And she's like, well, what'd you get me? And I was like, well, I can't hand it to you. And I held up my phone with the ticket. I'm like, you're going to go see Stevie Nicks. And she's like, are you going with me? I'm like, yeah, I'm going with you to see Stevie Nicks. Because I didn't get with her because her other two of her bands are Aerosmith and Stevie Nicks. And I paid for her to go see Steven Tyler in Detroit. And I couldn't go. And so she took one of her best friends, and now she's like, you're going with me, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going with you to go see Stevie Nicks, because that's... And the same day, I ended up buying my son's tickets to go see the band Health, which is a synthwave band, and we're going to go see that. So I bought them concert tickets for Valentine's Day, too. Because that's what dads do. Cool dads do. That's right. No.
Yeah.
All right. With everything you got going on, you, like I said, you're booked until like July minimum. Jeez.
It's later, probably August.
I'm just amazed at you guys. Like, I was talking to Angel, it's like you guys are working constantly, and that's amazing and cool, and that your guys are kicking ass and you're putting out really good quality content. And I don't know how to explain. And did not know you worked on Mothman. I didn't even know she worked on Mothman. I watched Mothman on Tubi like 2 months ago before I even, and I was like, this is a pretty good movie. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm in that. And I'm like, oh. And then I found her, and then I found you worked on it. I'm like, holy crap, that's a great...
Yeah, I have one of the Mothman wings hanging on my wall that I made for the film. So, yeah.
Okay, before we end this tonight, I got to ask, yes. Do you have a favorite piece of memorabilia from the movies you worked on?
Yes, but I can't show it. Not yet. It again is from Desperate. Okay. It's from Desperate Souls, and it's actually from my own kill scene. I wanted to keep it, so I kept the piece for that.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun, and I can't wait till you guys see that. We did some crazy shooting for that. I actually got to film one of the scenes, so that was a lot of fun. It was a POV perspective for Angel, where we're looking at her, so that was a very fun shot. I did my own stunts, so I got to fall off of bar stools. That was fun.
So actress, producer, makeup, special effects, makeup, wardrobe, stunts.
Hold on, it gets better. Hold on. There's a scene in there. I actually walked away with the title branch manager because it was night. But we needed the effect of tree branches across the wall. Mm-hmm. And there were no tree branches. So our DP walks outside, grabs some limbs, tapes them together, and says, come on, you're the new branch manager. And I stood with the tree branches above my head and out of shot so we could get that beautiful effect.
So you're a branch manager, but you've also, you're a stand-in for a tree. You're a stand-in. Oh,
and I was a garden gnome on that set. The The wind was terrible and we had to have a light outside. I know, all these funny stories. The wind was terrible and it was like 16 degrees. I mean, it was cold. So I grabbed my husband's thick coat and 2 really big, thick fleece blankets. And I'm standing out holding this light pole. And they're inside filming, looking out the window, laughing at me. And the wind catches my blanket and blows it away. So I go to grab it and I look like I'm out here dancing. And of course, they all have a conniption fit laughing inside, not realizing that I am really struggling because my blanket's going into the cornfield. So yeah, that was my garden gnome experience and I didn't like it.
Well, my goal is that here soon, because here when I get done with this, I got to get a message. I'm going to do Morgan is going to be on the show next. But I'd like to get all 3 of you guys. I'd like to get you, Morgan, and Angel on a show together, and I'd love to hear all the stories because I think and this has been fun, and I can't wait to hear more stories. And I'm gonna put this out there. I don't know if you're booked, but June 4th, I'm having my convention here in my little hometown. I do a comic book / convention, and you're more than welcome to come up and get you a table and do all that fun stuff. So we'll get, but you're busy. I understand, but we're planning November, so hopefully that'll be a 2-day. So,
that would be fun. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I don't want to waste up any more of your time today because you are a busy woman, and keep kicking ass, and tell your husband doing a great job on holding the being a gaffer and a light guy. And congratulations again on staying sober. Congratulations on all the stuff you're doing and everything. And I can't say that enough. You're kicking ass and taking names, so keep it up. And when it's all
thank
done,
you so much for having me.
Yep, you're welcome. Anytime you got if you got something that you want to talk about, sometime you got an upcoming movie you're working on, whatever, give me a message. If I have to sneak you in on a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock at night, I will work with it. I mean, I don't go to bed till about 2 a.m, so I'm pretty good here. So, but yeah. Definitely. So, again, thank you so very much. I will put your links and stuff here at the end of the episode, and I'll put links to your upcoming movies and stuff like that, and your IMDb page. And you mind with your Twitter, your Facebook, all that stuff? You good with that? Sending those links out?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't have Twitter, but I have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that.
Okay, cool. I will put that at the end. Like I said, I'll work on this tonight, and I will have this up tomorrow. Fingers crossed. If the internet doesn't go out and I don't have any issues, it goes up tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. So, all right. Well, thank you so very much. This has been great. You're an awesome person. I can't wait to meet you guys in person. And hopefully, like I said, if you can't come up, maybe you can come up to us when we're going to be over in Virginia. I'll send you the link to that on Facebook here. So
yeah, please do. Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, you guys have a good night and have fun and be careful on all your journeys and trips and stunts of falling off bar stools. I have not done that sober, so I am pretty.
It was pretty hard, actually. Just saying, sober is a lot harder.
Oh, I do have one bar story, and then I'm going to have to let this go. We used to go to this one bar, and we had these 3 spots over by the wall, up front at the bar. Me, one of my best friends, and another guy we used to hang out with. We came in one night. We walk over, and there's these 3 dudes sitting at our bar stool, and we're just like, dude, those are our seats. And the guy goes, man, we've been here for like an hour. I was like, no, you don't understand. Those are our seats. And he goes, I don't see your name written on it. I said, get up. And he got up. I flipped the bar stool over, and I had written my name on the bar stool. I was like, that's me. I'm Paul. And he's like, oh. And they get up and leave. And then my buddy looks at me and goes, aren't you glad you grabbed your stool and not mine? Because that would have been horrible because I flipped it over and it said Dante. And but it started out as a joke because it was one of them, I don't see your name written on or whatever. So I took a Sharpie from one of the waitresses and I wrote it on the bottom of the bar stool and then flipped it over.
That's awesome.
But yeah, yep. that's my drunken bar stool. I wasn't even drunk yet. I had just walked in.
So you were just going to knock somebody off your bar stool. That's what it was.
Right. You don't sit on my bar stool. So
nice.
Same way with my couch over it. My couch is falling apart and my wife has her side, which is in good shape. My side of the couch is falling apart. That's my side of the couch.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, you have a good night. Thank you so very much. And one of these days, we're going to have to hear some more stories. So,
absolutely.
All right. You take care. See ya.
You too.